Hello and welcome to Luton Town. At last we're back to club football with Burnley being the first team to visit Kenilworth Road this season. There have been a few changes at Burnley since we last met in the Premier League, and here to discuss all things Burnley and give us an insight as to what we can expect for our opening match is Natalie from the No Nay Never podcast. Welcome to Luton Town, Natalie. How's it going?
It's going very well, thank you. It's very nice to be back talking about club football, and it's very nice to be talking about Championship football again.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? For me, basically, one season in the Premier League and then, we're back in the Championship. Luton are quite optimistic for this next season.
You should be.
I think we are. I think we discussed last season, didn't we? We talked about Burnley and the expectation of Burnley because of how well they did when they got promoted for 108 points, walked the league, really did walk the league, and everyone was expecting Burnley to just push on. And that wasn't to be, and you got rid of Kompany probably too late, and now you've got a new intake. You've got Scott Parker behind the helm. What are Burnley fans thinking now? Are they going to get that 108 points again? Are they going to have that sort of season?
Yeah, it's all very new and it's all very, I guess, unsure at the moment where Burnley's concerned. I think we had the massive upheaval of Kompany going. Just 2 years ago, the Kompany era started. We got rid of Sean Dyche and we said goodbye to a style of football that had become tired and we were ready to move away from. Vincent Kompany came in, played all of his pre-season games behind closed doors, brought in a load of new players. We lost our entire Premier League squad. The old guard of your Ben Mees, James Tarkowski, Nick Pope, they all left. We didn't really know the first game at Huddersfield. We had no idea who we're going to play. We were all playing a game of guess a player, guess a position. And even when the team sheet came out, we had no idea what was going to happen. But it did feel different back then because we had a European name, somebody that was credited with free-flowing football and a media darling. So suddenly we were trendy again in the media. Well, not trendy again, trendy in the media, which we'd never had before. And then Kompany ball was unleashed at Huddersfield, and most Burnley fans just spent the entire 90 minutes just absolutely gobsmacked, couldn't believe what they were seeing. Walked the lead, had the best season ever, won the title at Ewood. That's why the Rovers stuff is that. Like, how on earth does that ever happen? And then last season happened, and it was an awful season. We very much fell out of love with said manager. The vast majority of fans did. I do not speak for everybody. Obviously, I have to make that clear these days because people jump all over you if you don't. But, from what I saw, the mistakes were made from day one and an ego took over. We had an appalling season. It was obvious. We'd have been relegated 10 games earlier if it hadn't been for the points deductions. And Vincent Kompany got rewarded for managing his CV by going to Bayern, and the entire club's just been uprooted in the space of 12 months. It's probably a better thing that Kompany did get uprooted at the back end of last season because we were already in a bad place anyway. It would have been worse, I think, if we'd have managed to survive and we'd have been doing really well. And then Kompany goes to Bayern because then the rug is pulled underneath you, don't you?
Yeah, I get that. I was going to say though, it was a bit of a shock he went to Bayern, don't you think? Given the form that he had last season, you're just thinking, I was surprised that Burnley didn't take the plunge and just kick him out before Christmas.
Should have done.
If it had gone before Christmas, because after he went, your form turned a little, didn't it? I think you might have done it. You might have been able to push on and do it. If he'd have gone earlier, maybe fresh blood in there, new ideas.
No, we never sacked him. We didn't sack him in the end.
We should have sacked him.
We should have sacked him, but he didn't. He stayed till the end of the season, and we got massively, we were appalling. I think that's one of the problems that I had with last season, and people who've heard content that I've put up here will have heard this before, so there will be an element of repetition here, but it's very organic and it's what I believe. It was apparent from 2 or 3 games in that we were nowhere near where we needed to be, and Kompany needed to change very quickly what his approach to a game was and what his system, what his intended system was going to be was clearly not going to work. The goalkeeper was a mess, and everything was all over the place. Our board came out very early and declared that Vincent Kompany was completely safe. He could not win an entire game all season and still have his job. And he was, I believe the comment was, he's the safest manager in the 72. That was in the 92, sorry, we're not in the AFL, in the 92,
No.
which, and that concerns me because there's no element of jeopardy for Vincent Kompany. He doesn't need to be concerned about his job. And so he can do what he wants. And what he wanted to do was to protect brand Kompany and not manage the team that was put in front of him. And he wasn't prepared to develop and make the unfashionable and ugly decisions that he needed to make to just get Burnley to survive. He didn't want to be that manager. I don't agree with that approach. I think as a manager, your job is to do what's right for the team, not what's right for you. But there we are. So listen, in reality, Vincent Kompany wasn't Bayern's first choice. He was their 8th choice manager in their second wave of looking for a new managerial appointment. He will not last at Bayern. The pressure at Bayern Munich is to deliver the Bundesliga. I just don't think he will do that. Not so much now in that the Bundesliga is not a shoo-in anymore for Bayern. There's other teams in the Bundesliga that are competing. It's a much harder league than it used to be. And I believe I listened to a German journalist who said that apparently the Bayern manager is allowed to keep that. They'll consider letting him keep his job if he doesn't deliver the Bundesliga, if he delivers a Champions League. Now, Vincent Kompany is not going to deliver either of those things, in my opinion. I haven't seen anything to suggest that he is equipped yet to manage at the top flight. So I think as a stopgap manager, I think he's absolutely right to take it. I think I wouldn't, because I think he's going to be out of a job in no more than a year. But I've kind of moved on from that now.
So he's gone, hasn't he? And
he's gone, yeah, and it was a surprise. You're absolutely right, and it has caused us some element of uncertainty. We didn't expect to be looking for a new manager. I think, from my perspective as a fan, the upside of not sacking Kompany when it became blatantly obvious that we were going to go down is that he was at least going to get us out of the Championship, and he's a cheat code in this league. So we were like, well, we'll be fine. We'll just go back up again. We'll win the league again. We'll romp it by 100 points. And here we are today in the preview of our game, and we welcome in the dawn of the Scott Parker era.
Yeah, how are you feeling about that? How's Burnley feeling about that? I know you can't speak for everyone. He's got form, isn't he? He's not a bad manager.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, really. I've had so many Fulham and Bournemouth fans contact me to say, oh God, you're in so much trouble, he's awful, blah blah blah. But his Championship record is pretty exceptional. So I think next season we'll be absolutely fine. Do I think we'll walk the league? Do I think we'll play incredible football that's exciting and dynamic? No, I think it'll be 1-0. I think we're going to regress a little bit in terms of the style of football that we play. And that's a shame, because in this division, when you've got a squad the size and calibre that we have, you should be the entertainers. You should be the ones that are a joy to watch. Does it really matter if we win the league? No, as long as we go up. I'd rather not go through the playoff headache if possible, but first or second's fine. And I'm worried about the future if we do get promoted next year. I'm worried about his obvious deficiencies, shall we say, in the Premier League. Then look at.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, but look at the manager we've just had.
Yeah.
So does it matter? He was appalling.
Yeah, I was generally going to say, I was quite surprised at Burnley's form last season. I figured that we would be the ones at the bottom of the league most of the season, which, we bottom 3 most of the season.
You were great last year.
I loved it. I loved every second of being in the Premier League. Anybody who watches this podcast that we do knows how much I loved it and how much I'm going to miss it, and I want to go back there. I don't care if we play crap football to get there, but I was going to say that, Scott Parker gets you up. Burnley won't make the same mistake again. If he's not performing, surely they'll get rid of him. So I don't think you have to worry too much. It's just about how the season's going to go. You've had some ins and outs. You've got some new players in. So I probably won't recognise half these names when I look down at this ins that you've had. But are you satisfied with the business so far?
To an extent, yeah. The biggest surprise that I've got is that we haven't sold more players. Our squad is way too big for the Championship. It's a really overinflated squad. There are some key players who I didn't expect I thought they would be gone by now. I suspect in the next couple of days, Sander Berge will go. He's our star player, was our player of the season last year, and he's the one that I think just shouldn't be playing in the Championship next season. I think he's gone past that point now. He's developed into a Premier League player. Lyle Foster, Zeki Amdouni, Luke Koleosho, those kind of players, Wilson Odobert, the dynamic ones. I just didn't expect them to still be here. I don't expect James Trafford will be here. I think we've bought a couple of keepers this season. We've taken the Ipswich keeper and we've taken another one this week as well. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to pronounce his name.
I wouldn't bother.
My thick East Lancashire accent struggles with some of the very beautifully sophisticated European names. I really struggle with them. My vowels don't pronounce properly. So yeah, James Trafford's obviously going. He's not going to be with us. So in terms of transfer business, I'm more surprised that we've not sold more players. So I think for me, I don't really know what our squad's going to look like yet. I don't know, because it's, we're in the last week now before the season starts, but the transfer window hasn't closed yet. But
that's crazy,
we've still got players in our books that I wasn't expecting to see. So we'll see. I think depending on who goes, we might need to replace, and that's disappointing because that's now going to be very much at the last minute.
But you've got a strong squad though.
We've got a ridiculously strong
when
squad.
You've come down, surely Burnley fans are thinking we're going to do a bounce back. We're going to be at least in the mix for the most of the season. So it's going to be a more exciting season for you guys. We, on the other hand, have not signed many players at all. We haven't. Have
you sold any though?
No, we haven't lost many. No, we haven't lost many. We got rid of some players that sort of fringe really. They were sort of bit part players last season. They've gone now. We've got Baptiste from Brentford.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's a good signing. Obviously,
he's a really good signing for the Championship as well. He'll be amazing.
Obviously, we lost Ross Barkley. It's a sad thing that he went, but it was obvious and on the cards.
It's obvious it was.
But one of the best players in a Luton shirt for a long, long time, and
he was really good for you last year.
And we got some coin for him, so we literally had him for free overall. So we're happy about that. I just ask, is it essential to get a good start in this division? Is it essential for
No.
anyone? It's a long season, isn't it?
Yeah. The Championship is a longer equivalent of an NBA basketball game. Nothing really happens till the final quarter. Look at the Burnley of 2 seasons ago, the first season under Kompany. We were way down. We were always around the top 6 or 7, but we were just drawing so many games, and we got beat away at Sheffield United, and we really struggled in the first stage as Kompany couldn't quite get himself adapted yet to Championship football. Our players weren't really syncing. We had a lot of loan players who hadn't played together yet and weren't gelling, and we really struggled. But then it clicked on the when we finished the World Cup. That's when it started for us. Yeah. We went top of the league by beating Blackburn at home on the very final game before we all broke for the World Cup. We didn't leave the top spot for the rest of the season. We never came off first. That was it. We stayed there for the rest of the season. But that is quite an unusual. That's not usual in the Championship. That doesn't happen every season. No. You have the players who stay up. The teams that stay around the top, but not necessarily one that's as dominant as that. Particularly with Sheffield United pushing us as well. Nothing. You can have. And again, I use Burnley examples because that's what I know. But the 2014 Burnley Championship winning side that was challenging with Middlesbrough and Brighton for that really, when we went up and stayed up for ages, we were, I think, 12 points behind Middlesbrough, who sat on the top, and we were in 8th or 9th, and that was on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Dyche then went 23 games undefeated and we lifted the title. So To be fair, the first half, as long as you're not in the relegation zone, I think by Christmas, the Championship's a beautiful league that way. The half of it doesn't matter. So you can kind of get to Christmas, see where you are, see how your manager's doing, look at your squad again in January, and it all becomes about the second half of the season, really.
I think we've come back, Luton Town have come back stronger. We've got some, if we can keep our front two, I think we're in with a chance of I'm not going to say automatics, but being in that mix the whole season would be lovely. There are a lot of supporters and a lot of bookies saying we're one of the favourites to go back up. I can't really see that myself at the moment. I don't think.
Really?
No, I don't think. I think You got to look
It's
at
a weak division this year.
but every
Last year was
time-
tough.
Yeah, but every
No.
time that Luton are in the division, they say it's a weak division. But then I look at Leeds United; they bottled it last season. Really, they should have done. They should have done
Yeah, they
better.
should.
People are tipping Middlesbrough, yourselves, West Brom. Can't see that one, but we'll see how that one goes. Obviously, Coventry, outsiders, maybe Hull City. They've all been recruiting quite well. I'm always one of those people that when we start, if we lose, I'm sort of Mr. Pessimistic. I'm trying to get out of that, but I can't do it.
Yeah, you won't be. But you've got to look at this as well, is that these teams that are challenging and they're going to be pushing for the playoffs and possibly try and nick it. They won't finish we won't have another Ipswich scenario this year, I don't think. I think the ones that finish in the top two will be the stronger ones. The gulf between the Premier League and the Championship's incredible. You will be surprised when you start this weekend. I mean, it's a slight false dawn for us because we're effectively playing a Premier League game between us. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, it's the same two squads last season. So when you get past this first game and you start playing again, it's just an incredibly different league. It plays completely different, and it's not just the quality of play. There's a quality of coaches as well. When Kompany played his football 2 years ago, so many of our opposition coaches were coming out and saying, I know what he's doing, but I don't know what to do about it. It's like it's a different style of. So the football's a pace behind. It's a technical step behind. The coaching's a step behind, and you've got to remember here that you are coming down with a group of individuals, minus one or two, who have just played in the best league in the world. They've got Premier League experience. They will still be tuned into that mindset. They'll still be thinking that they're going to be facing Premier League defences. They're still going to be thinking that they're going to be running against those athletes that are strong and physical and really good quality athletes. This doesn't happen in the Championship. And that really surprised me when we went down 2 years ago, and I'm expecting the same thing. And listen, we need to be clear here. This isn't coming from a place of arrogance. It's coming from a place of experience. We've just been up and down 2 seasons. I was surprised at the level of the Championship when we went in it 2 years ago. I was profoundly shocked at the standard of the Premier League with just 1 season away from it, how different that was and how much better that had gone, which is why it's important you need to go straight back up, because if you go 2 seasons not being in the Premier League, that gap goes even worse and you really struggle. You've got to get straight back up again. So Sheffield United, to me, have felt they don't feel particularly aggressive in terms of ambition to me. So I'm talking now, I'm putting Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United as the 3 relegated sides that have got the squad and the parachute money. Sheffield United didn't invest well to stay up in the Premier League. They sold us Sander Berge the week before the season started, who was by far their best player. So that was pretty much a statement of where they thought they were and what they wanted to do. They don't really strike me as somebody as proactively ambitious in getting back into the Premier League. I think they're in a transitional period at the moment where they're trying to steady the ship and invest wisely and maybe just be a slow burner and get back up again.
Yeah.
Luton have got absolutely nothing to lose, except they've been up there, they've tried it, the monies are tight, the squad's tight, the fan base is tight, the owners are sensible. There's nothing stopping you from going for it again this season. Why not? Because you're not gonna be betting the ranch to go up. You've got a squad that can go up. So I think, I think Leeds, Luton, Burnley for me will be who I think will be the promoted sides. I think that Burnley and Leeds might edge it in terms of automatics.
Yeah.
But equally, it wouldn't surprise me if Luton took one of the top 2 spots anyway. But the top 3 for me are Luton. The 3 promoted sides will be Leeds, Luton and Burnley.
I hope you're right. Last 4 games against each other, we haven't won. Well, Luton haven't won. 2 wins for you guys, 2 draws. Obviously a controversial draw at your place last season.
Should have been a win.
It should have been a win. And
I'm still not over that.
When you're watching that back and you're going, how did they give that goal? I was quite delighted when it went in, to be fair. What are you expecting Monday? Are you expecting a close game, or do you feel a close fought game? Maybe the odd goal, maybe a draw.
I would not be surprised at a draw at all. You're facing 2 sides here who expect to be competing in this league, who expect to be dominant in this league, who know each other's sides inside out, who are also adapting back to life in the Championship again. I don't expect either side to particularly go for it, because I think you're also going to have 2 sides that realise that a loss doesn't really matter. It's a long old season in the Championship. You can lose your first game and be absolutely fine. If obviously there's maybe a slight edge in terms of pressure for you guys because you're at home, you want to be winning your home games. But I expect just a very normal, vanilla, well thought out, healthy, competitive game that's not going to be full of goals and probably will be a 0-0 draw.
Well,
and that's great.
I'll
That's
go with
great
that.
for us.
I'll take
Good
that.
start.
I'll go with that. But when we played you at Kenilworth Road last season, it was a really good game. It was a really close game, and I thought we was unlucky to concede. But overall, that was our issue last season. Kenilworth Road wasn't the fortress we wanted it to be. We couldn't win as many. If we'd have won a few more home games, we'd have been right up there. We had it in our own hands. So I'm looking forward to the match on Saturday, here we go, Monday. And the other psychological thing for me is when I then look at the Saturday and the Friday games and the Sunday games and there's any going, then I suddenly think, we're already 3 points behind. And that's me being pessimistic because I'm old. That's how that happens. But I'm looking forward to the game. I feel you're right. I think it's going to be a strong game.
Yeah.
I hope it's a good football match. When people look at it on the television, they'll go, actually, these two could be competing for the rest of the season. That's what I hope. Generally, obviously, I hope we win, but I'll take not losing. I'm assuming you do post-match stuff and you'll be discussing it in more detail on your own podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a previous show, which our roles are going to be reversed in about 24 hours time,
okay,
48 hours time. Yeah. You guys are obviously going to be featuring on ours. So if any of your listeners do want to tune into that, we can send the link. You'll be able to find the link because we'll tag you guys into it because our previous shows it's very much centered around our opposition. It's our opposition. So you'll be given our opposition view. There are stats and facts and memories and stuff from Burnley, Luton over the years. EFL talking points and just nice little build up to the game, but it will be very much, it's not Burnley focused, it will be focused on Luton. And then we have an analysis show where we dissect what happened, so we'll be recording that probably on Tuesday after the game on Monday. And it'll be one of our initial views of the dawn of the Scott Parker era.
Be interesting to hear what you've got to say. Yeah. I'll get our producer Jacob to tag us all in that and give you the links on our websites and stuff.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Natalie, as always, it was a pleasure last season to chat with you, and this season too. I hope we both are happy at the end of the season. We can have an end of season get together. Fingers crossed. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time. Thanks to everybody else who's watching and listening. Please hit the like buttons and subscribe if you haven't already. Why haven't you done that already? And we'll see you again soon. Thank you.